Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I'm so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 138th episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. And this week, I'm going to talk to you all about our experience on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas, which is the third largest cruise ship in the world and the largest one that my family has ever sailed on. A few weeks ago, we sailed from Port Canaveral, Florida, and we had a 7-night cruise. This is a cruise that we had booked a year ago because when I was on my last cruise with my family in 2024, I knew then, I was like, we want to try one of the mega ships. And my boys are older. They wanted to try a ship with all the activities. So I'm going to share some of the activities that you can do on the ship and some things that we loved and what we've decided to do next time. May surprise you. So my boys love transportation. They love airplanes, ships of all kinds, trains. If it's an unusual way to travel from point A to point B, they enjoy it. As long as it's not a car. They want something different. So they've cruised multiple times. This is not their first cruise. I believe Christian may have been on, I think they might be at 9 cruises now. It's a lot. I was counting up, and I think I've been on 17 cruises from the age of 19 until now. And I will say Royal Caribbean tends to be my favorite cruise line. Then it was my very first cruise, and I think you just love whatever you start with. But Royal Caribbean to me is top notch. And so this ship was going to be the largest one that we've ever cruised on. Its maiden voyage was March 4th of 2022. But if you recall, there was not a lot of cruising going on in 2022. So even though that was its maiden voyage, it was not at full capacity. Full capacity for this ship, 6,988 passengers, over 18 decks. So right at 7,000, and that's not including your crew. So we're talking over 7 then. And so this is the largest ship we've ever been on. Most of the ships I would say I've been on before then are 3,000 or less passengers, so it's more than double. And I chose this ship not only for its size and its features, which I'm going to talk about, but the itinerary was very appealing to me. We were going to Saint Martin, which is an island very unique because it's half Dutch and half French. I'm going to have a whole episode about this later. Also, we went to St. Thomas, which was one of my favorite stops in a previous cruise when we took a Disney cruise 5 years ago in 2020. And this is one of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And then the last port was going to be Coco Cay, often known as Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which I'm going to talk to you more about next week because there's a lot to say about Coco Cay. So what are some features of the ship? So I loved the itinerary. It was going to have 3 days at sea, which I thought was going to be plenty to explore this ship because the other 2 largest ships that are larger than the Wonder will be Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, which is currently the largest, and Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas. Now, the Wonder and the Utopia are both Oasis-class ships. So those are your mega ships. And they have a lot of really cool features that older kids and adults alike love, including, but not limited to, because I'm sure I'm going to forget something, the Ultimate Abyss slide. This is a 10-deck dry slide. So that means if you've seen the purple fish, that has the anglerfish with the light that is in the darkness, and there's just a few weeks ago, it got a lot of worldwide attention where an anglerfish that spends its life in the bottom of the ocean in the dark and the depths came up to the light before passing. Well, this is a ginormous one. And so you start off on the very top and you slide down on a mat 10 decks below. Now, I did not know if I was going to do this before we got on the ship. Christian, who is not as adventurous as London, because Christian's 8, he wasn't sure if he was going to do it, but we decided our very first day we were just going to try it one time. We were terrified. I will say that I was terrified, and then it ended up being wonderful. It was not dark. There was music. There were lights, and you kind of raced the person on the other slide so you could go 2 at a time, and it did not go too fast. I didn't bump my head. They give you all these safety instructions, and I thought it was going to be way more intense than it was. The water slides were way more intense than the dry slide. You have to be completely dry in order to do this, but that's something we did almost daily. It was so much fun. There is a carousel. I love a good carousel. And I have never been on a carousel on a ship before. And so that was included. Zip lining's included. Again, 10 decks high. They equip you. They give you some safety instructions. And you go in between the two sides of the ship. Basically like an abyss or a chasm is opened up. And you zip line from one side to the other. Logan did it multiple times, and London did it. It was his very first ziplining experience. He loved it. He started doing it back to back. They offer it multiple times a day. There's hours set up where you can go, and he really enjoyed it. Mini golf is something that our whole family enjoyed. We picked a very windy day. We had amazing weather on the cruise. We really did. A lot of people ask me, when is your favorite time to cruise? When's the best time to cruise? And I tell everyone that's very subjective, because do you mean best because of weather? Do you mean best because it's convenient because the kids are out? Or do you mean best because of pricing? Well, if you're trying to think of all the things, overall, I would say my favorite time to cruise is February. You're not in hurricane season. The weather is incredible. So while we had snow and ice here, or at least the threat of snow and ice here, we were in 80 degrees. I think low of 70s during the day. Our day at Coco Cay, we had some 70s. It was a little cool in comparison, but we definitely weren't getting snow and ice. It was beautiful every day. And maybe we got a little bit of wind and rain one night, and that was it. So weather-wise, it was great. Also, we had the advantage of when you sail certain times of the year with Royal Caribbean, you can take advantage of the kids sail free if they are 12 and under. So it's not all weeks throughout the year. It's a special promotion. I look out for it. I already have our next cruise booked where I also have it. But unfortunately, London is aging out this year for the kids sail free because he'll be 13. So we got to take advantage of it one more time where both boys were 12 and under. So you cannot beat that deal where we just paid for taxes and port fees for them for the entire week. And we did have a balcony cabin. To me, it is worth having a balcony. The cabins are small unless you're splurging for a suite, which we've never done before, but we're actually going to try next time. Unless you do that, your cabin, you're in pretty close quarters, and most of them are going to be for 4 people or less. So 2 to 4 people on average. So having a balcony gives you so much extra space. That 57 square feet of space on your balcony, you'll appreciate so much. Oh, there's more to say, and I cannot wait to share more things with you, but that's all the time we have for the radio portion of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. So tune in to hear the extended version on our podcast.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, we're back. So I was just about to talk to you about some more of the ship features. We talked about mini golf, the Ultimate Abyss dry slide, the carousel ziplining. There's also ice skating. So not only do you get to watch professional ice skaters on an ice skating show, which was amazing, You can ice skate yourself. They had free skating that opened up. There was also laser tag. They put a floor over the ice skating rink, and they had an inflatable laser tag course. It was top notch. I've been laser tag playing or laser tagging, if that's a verb, lots of different places. I think this is my favorite one yet. Really good equipment. And it was a inflatable like ice castle kind of atmosphere. It was really cool. We did that multiple times throughout the ship, but you have to note that's not going to be an everyday thing. You have to watch for when the times it's going to be available. There's also a rock climbing wall. That's something that Royal Caribbean is known for, and I think every Royal Caribbean ship has a rock climbing wall. My boys know that it's there. They did it last year on a smaller ship and enjoyed it. That's something they did every day, and that's also something they wanted to do this time. There's a surf simulator, and both boys got to experience that for the first time. Really enjoyed it. You can stand up or you can do more where you're like kneeboarding. And they have an amazing staff that doesn't just like send you on your own and say, here's a board, go to it. They really coach you and teach you, give you pointers, teach you how to do tricks. And then after you've done it multiple times, you can hop back in line and do it again. So let's talk about some of the entertainment. So they don't have a Broadway level show on the Wonder of the Seas like some of the other Royal Caribbean ships. Some of the other Royal Caribbean ships have a Broadway. That's something we felt like we kind of missed out on this ship. Some of them have like Wizard of Oz and Hairspray. Whereas this one, or Cats, they did have some really good entertainment. Their two main headlining shows that they had their singer and dancer team for Royal Caribbean, one was called Voices and one was called Effectors 2. Now, I will say of the two, the music was beautiful in Voices, but the special effects, it's supposed to be the most technical, like high-tech show on the seas, and it was impressive. I don't want to give away anything because there's some real surprises there, but it was kind of like a superhero storyline with great music and a lot of technical special effects. I wanted to go see it twice. Studio B had an incredible 360 was the name of their, or 365 was the name of their show because it was like the Four Seasons. Beautiful ice skating show. An aqua theater, wonderful water show where these divers are diving like, oh my gosh, into a 15 to 17 foot tank, and they are so impressive. Their balance was incredible. So it was a lot of splashing, a lot of high dives, a lot of jumping with some great music. They also had some other smaller shows throughout, including a juggler that we went to go see. So there was always something to do, always a type of entertainment. The dining options are plentiful on these mega ships. We're talking 9+ specialty restaurants that you have the option of everything from sushi to Italian to Southern cuisine, seafood, like I said, a steakhouse, a burger place called Johnny Rockets. So lots of different options there. But we decided to just opt for the main dining. Oh, there's also a place called Wonderland, which is like a magical dining experience. So think Alice in Wonderland, and an amazing meal with lots of surprises. But we decided to do the main dining room because we enjoyed the food. Our service was phenomenal, as it always is, and we decided we would rather spend the extra that you would pay for specialty dining to do some really great excursions, which I'm going to talk about on future episodes. Some of our favorite things to do was, besides the Ultimate Abyss slide, which we loved, Christian and I, one day, we had pineapple drinks. It was like a pineapple slush drink, actually in a full pineapple that had been hollowed out as your drink cup. And we did that, sat on the back of the ship, watched the water. People watched while Logan and London took advantage of going to the gym. We decided we're more drinking with pineapples kind of people than gym people like Logan and London were. We really enjoyed the ice skating shows and the aqua shows. Nightly eating dinner in the main dining room was something we did not miss. And we chose to do the late dining. A lot of people with kids think, oh, you just have to do the early dining. But if your kids are flexible and older, I actually really prefer the late dining myself. Then you're not rushed when you go to a port to get back and, get freshened up, take your showers, change for dinner. We had plenty of time. We had plenty of time where we could, take turns with the shower, not rush, not be on top of each other in our smaller balcony cabin. go for a walk, maybe even have late afternoon pizza at Sorrento's. That was also included. So we had time to really enjoy sailing away from the port, which is one of our favorite things. So we love sitting on our balcony, both when we're pulling into a port and leaving a port. Of course, the ports themselves are one of our main highlights, which is why we chose the next ship for its itinerary more than its features. But speaking of features, there's a few more. Walking through Central Park was so much fun. This is where a lot of the specialty restaurants are located, and they have nightly music. It really feels like you're walking in Central Park in New York City, especially at night. The breeze, you don't have the sun, beating down overhead. It was beautiful, and they had live music where you could just pull up a chair, sit down, talk about what you did that day, what you're looking forward to doing that next day, or what you can't wait to eat at supper. And we just really enjoyed that. There's a large hot tub, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret for the Wonder of the Seas, because a lot of the hot tubs on ships are so overcrowded. You feel like you're in sardines, like sardines in a can. So I don't typically love pools on a cruise ship unless I'm in the adults only solarium. Well, here's a tip about the solarium. Not only is the solarium incredible for adults only, so 18 and up, but they have a large hot tub there that's right on the water. It's like double or triple the size of a regular hot tub that they have throughout the pool deck. But what's special about this is you can even have kids go to this hot tub. Most of them won't. So most small kids aren't going to go here, but we really enjoyed going here because it was bigger, it was not as crowded, and it was right on the water. So we had excellent views, really beautiful for watching the sunset one night. And again, just sitting on our balcony and enjoying that time together in the morning, watching the sunrise or the sunset, one of my favorite things. So what would I do differently? And this wonderful cruise, would I do anything differently? And I'm going to talk about the one thing that I wish I had done that I didn't do next week. That's all the time we have for Talk Travel with Heather Tate. If you're not already a member of our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate Whimsical Destinations, go ahead and join that. Check out some of our pictures and videos of the cruise. And I'm going to talk more next week about Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Whatever you do, have an amazing adventure. Life is short. Take the trip. Make those memories. You won't regret it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.